Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids, the channel where you get the no-nonsense reviews of all the latest cars and motorcycles. And today we have something special with us. This is the new 2023 Karizma XMR 210, the revival of the legendary Karizma. And a lot of people were expecting this motorcycle to be launched. They were holding their purchase. So today I'm going to let you know everything that you need to know about this motorcycle, and in typical Motoroids style I'm going to let you know all the details that matter. So let's start off with the engine. This is a 210cc single cylinder engine, DOHC 4 valve. The power here is 25.5 PS at 9250 rpm, and the torque is 20.4 newton meters at 7250 rpm. Now in the 200cc class, those are class leading numbers, although there are some motorcycles like the Suzuki Gixxer SF250 which have slightly higher power, although there you don't get liquid cooling, you get oil cooling, and there the capacity also is higher. That one is a 250. So in 200cc segment, this is one of the most powerful motorcycles out there. Now apart from that, you would appreciate the fact that it somehow carries on the styling of the original ZMA, except for the fact that a lot of things have changed. The fact that this is still a fully faired motorcycle is a hint to the past. However, here now, as LED is the norm, you have this LED DRL, and you have two projector headlamps here and two proper LED lights on the flanks. Now these central lights are the low beams, and these two lights here are the high beam. Up front you have a 17-inch wheel, 7x2 spokes, 100 section. However, these are not radial tires. At the rear you have 140 section tires. Again, they are not radial. 17-inch wheels, as I mentioned. And up front you have a 300 mm disc, and at the rear you have 230 mm. You have dual channel ABS, and the brakes at both the ends are pedal type, so the braking can be expected to be strong. But is it, we'll see in a bit. Twin piston calipers up front and a single piston unit at the rear. 160 mm of ground clearance and 810 mm of seat height. Now I'm 5 feet 10 inches, and when I sit here I cannot dig my heels in, which means that this is not ideal for riders who are very short in height. If you're 5'7" or above, you should be fine. I am perfectly fine on this, but on some motorcycles I'm able to dig my heels down. I am not on this motorcycle. Seating position is slightly on the aggressive side. You have these clip-on handlebars which are very sporty. Although they are not as committed as say the R15, they're still slightly on the committed side, and I personally like them, although they could have been slightly raised for more comfort. They are not as balanced as some other motorcycles. It's slightly more committed. The foot pegs are also slightly rear set, so it's a slightly more committed riding position than ideal. For such motorcycles which are not very aggressive, I would like the handlebar to be raised a little bit. RVMs are also very nicely styled, although you cannot fold them, and just look at the styling here. It's very angular and it looks very nice. They are also very practical. You don't really have to tuck your elbows in to look at what's coming from behind. Now this is also the first motorcycle in its segment which comes with an adjustable windscreen, and here's this button with visor written on it. You press the button down and then you can adjust it. Seems like you can adjust it by a few inches. It won't make a world of difference, but something is still better than nothing. It isn't a big enough screen according to me to make a difference to the wind resistance, and I think it's more of a vanity feature. Now coming on to this LCD color screen, you have all the telltale lights here: neutral indicator, side stand, engine, oil, turn indicator, high beam, low fuel, and ABS light. Then you also have the gear indicator, you have the temperature gauge here, the tacho, and the fuel gauge. Then you have the distance, the fuel efficiency, average speed, time, and this is the trip. So you can switch between the trips using this button here. And now you can see that this is showing me trip B. It also shows you the average fuel efficiency and the range. And it also has the service due, battery voltage, and the date here. There's a little clock here. It also comes with Bluetooth connectivity, and it also comes with turn-by-turn navigation. Also, it comes with a smart headlight wherein there is a light sensor here, and if it senses that it's getting dark, the lights turn on automatically. The entire lighting on the motorcycle is LED, so the blinkers are also LED, and this beautifully done tail lamp is also an LED unit. The fuel tank here is 11 liters, which is not enough in my personal opinion. And let's have a look at the key also. It is a very unique key and it has tones of black and grey. It's a wave bite key, and the fuel tank lid is a hinged type. Now looking at the switch gear, it has everything that you would require from such a motorcycle. You have the hazard light, you have the engine start, engine kill, and these two buttons are used to navigate through this color touchscreen. You have the pass, high beam and low beam, turn indicators with a cancel button and the horn. Let's listen to the horn as well. And then you have this USB socket here as well to charge your electronic devices. Now coming to the styling, it has some resemblance with the old Karizma, yet it's a little different. It's very sporty, it's very sharply styled, and the body colored part of the fairing is more horizontal than vertical, and this horizontal effect is brought in by this part of the fairing, which is all black. So there is a difference in the styling as compared to the old Karizma. This panel here is totally different. So this part has been divided into two. This part is one piece and the lower part is another piece, and then there are some fins here as well and some fins on the other side to let some air pass through the engine as well. The chassis here is a steel trellis frame, and then you can see an interplay of colors. You have this dark piano black kind of a color here, the body color here, and then a silverish grey color here under the seat, and this matte black here. So in all you'll see a mishmash of about 4 colors here: the body color, the piano black, the grey and the black. Now the colors, as you see here, this is the iconic yellow color which is always in demand for the Karizma. Then you have the red color and you also have a matte black color. So you have 3 colors in all, and as you can see here, the seat here is a split and step unit, so it's not the most comfortable of the seats to get on. The main seat itself is 810 mm, so for the people who have a short height, swinging a leg can be a bit of an issue. So not the most comfortable, although the grab rail is very comfortable. A word about the fit and finish: it's good but not great. In some places you can see that the finish could have been better. Talking more specifically, you can come here and have a look at these exposed wires here, and also the way this USB socket has been finished is not all that great. Some of the panels also have a little bit of a jagged edge. So all in all, it's a good finish, but it's not the best finish that we have seen on a motorcycle. The welding marks also in some places are quite pronounced. Apart from that, if you leave the body panels, the engine is finished in black and the lower casing is done in this bronze color. You have the DOHC marking there, and the exhaust here is a very stubby unit with this Reebok kind of 3 stripes, and it looks very nice. It's upswept, and of course the swing arm is a box shaped unit on both the sides. The rear shock absorber is a monoshock 6-step adjustable, while the front is non-adjustable. There you have a 43 mm dia piston. The rear mudguard extends quite some distance behind and should ideally do a good job of stopping the mud from slinging over to the rider's back. What do you think about the styling of the new Karizma? It definitely doesn't look as big as the old Karizma did. The old Karizma had a sense of volume and girth to it. This one looks more compact to me, although it also looks sharper and more modern. What do you think? Do let me know. In terms of features, this motorcycle also comes with a slip and assist clutch, so that really means that while driving it or riding it within the city, it won't be too difficult for you, since there is an assist clutch to apply the clutch and it won't trouble you too much. Now I think I can talk about the performance of this motorcycle as well. I've ridden it enough and more. I think I can tell you everything that is to be known about this motorcycle, and the first thing that you want to know is that the engine is vibe free. It's extremely smooth, so that's one very important thing that Hero MotoCorp have achieved with the Karizma. It's literally a vibe free engine, so very smooth. Power I've mentioned, 25.5 PS, 9250 rpm, torque 20.4 newton meters at 7,250 rpm, and that translates to a top speed on this motorcycle that I witnessed on the speedo of 142 kilometers per hour in every gear. If you look at the speeds, the first gear will take you to 45 kilometers per hour, the second gear to 65 kilometers per hour, third gear to 90 kilometers per hour, fourth gear 110, fifth gear 130, and the top speed in the sixth gear, as I mentioned, is 142 kilometers per hour. Another question that you guys would have is, how good is it to just cruise along? How good is it for touring? And the simple answer is, unless you want to be cruising at illegal speeds, it's perfectly fine. And just to give you a more quantifiable answer, in the sixth gear, when you want to cruise at 100 kilometers per hour, you will see 7,000 clicks on the tacho, which means that you still have about 3,000 clicks to go. So the engine is pretty relaxed. At 120 it's 8,000, so still 2,000 rpm to go. And in that sense, it is pretty relaxed at 120, 125, and it can do those speeds all day long. So no problem whatsoever with the cruising speeds. Although this is not as quick as some of the bigger motorcycles, it can cruise at respectable speeds all day long. Now, another important aspect of motorcycles which are going to be used on the street as well as on the highway, which are not out and out sport motorcycles, is tractability. And in that sense, this motorcycle does pretty well. It has got 6 gears, so in the 6th gear this will trundle along easily from 40 kilometers per hour. 5th gear will allow you to drive it from 35 kilometers per hour. 4th gear 30 kilometers per hour, and in the 3rd gear it will move along from as low as 20 kilometers per hour. So those are the tractability figures of this motorcycle. About the engine character, you have to keep the engine about 2,500 rpm to stop it from spluttering, from knocking, and it's really after 3,000 rpm that the engine really smoothens out. However, unlike a lot of other motorcycles which are singles, this isn't entirely linear, and until such time that you reach 6,000 rpm, you can feel that the revs are building up at a rather steady pace, but not at a very enthusiastic pace. And that is the range where you'd probably use this motorcycle to ride within the city. The mid-range isn't really very strong. It's healthy but not very strong, and at some points you would also probably feel that it's slightly flat. It's really at 6,000 rpm that you feel a kind of a bump up coming in, and from there onwards all the way to 10,000 rpm the bike really builds its speed, and that's where it really wants to be if you really want to be riding it hard. So the power really comes in at 6,000 rpm. All of it is very controllable. At the end of it, 25.5 PS is not all that great a power in today's world, and it's a good power figure, and you can use it very easily within the city and on the highway. And the suspension also is very pliant. Over bad roads, it handles the undulations, the bad patches, the ridges, the rough surfaces very well. So it's tuned very well. You can ride it hard around corners. It feels very stable. A word about that, the wheelbase here is not too short, and this motorcycle feels very planted and very stable. If you are taking this bike around long sweeping corners, it feels like a very stable motorcycle, and it gives you a lot of confidence. However, if you want to be flicking it around within the city, well, it's not a very flickable motorcycle. It's not something like, say, a Duke 200, which loves to be dipped and picked up again with its short wheelbase. So it's more stable, it feels very planted but not very flickable. About the tires have good amount of grip. Even when you slam the brakes completely, they don't squeal or screech. In dry conditions, at least they give you a lot of confidence. The brakes are also pretty good. They're not the best that I've seen. They are pedal type, so there is a good amount of bite in them. Although they are not the sharpest, I could have done with a little bit sharper feel from the brakes. They do feel slightly soggy when you really want the motorcycle to come to a halt on a dime, when you want it to stop at a moment's notice. It just falls a little bit short. It's not bad, but it's not the best, is all I'm saying. All in all, if you look at the new XMR 210, it's a do-all kind of a motorcycle that manages to look good. It's a full-fed motorcycle, looks reasonably big, although not as big as its previous iteration, and it has decent performance. It's not a scorcher for sure. Top speed is respectable. The fuel efficiency figure here is pretty good, so even if you're driving it in a mix of city and highway, you'd be able to get 40, which is pretty good. And if you're riding it only on the highway, you'd be able to get about 45, which is not bad at all. If you're ripping it, you will probably get about 35, and that's a good mix. So 35 to 45 kmpl for a motorcycle which is respectable in terms of its power and torque, has a good top speed. I think it delivers quite well. Now, the pricing is the show stealer here. However, there are some things which are missing, but once I looked at the price, I was ready to forgive Hero for those omissions. I think the finish could have been a little bit better. It's not up there with the best. It's not bad, but it's not there with the best. It doesn't have USD front forks. It doesn't have adjustable front forks. It also doesn't have adjustable levers. But having said all of that, the price of 1,72,900 rupees, which by the way is an introductory price, it will soon go to 1,82,900, is a very good price. And at that price, a fully fed motorcycle which has a legacy, I think Hero are offering you a very good proposition. And if you are a Karizma fan, by all means, go ahead and take a test drive of this one, because it still has something very unique. It carries on the character of its forebear, its predecessor. It doesn't want to be something that it never was. It still is a very accessible, very usable, very refined, very everyday usable motorcycle which looks good. And for someone who's looking for a motorcycle which can do a lot of tasks, I think the Karizma still has what it always was known for. I really hope that this video was of some use to you. If you liked this video, if you found it of use to you, do hit that like button, subscribe to Motorides for no nonsense reviews, in-depth analytical videos. And until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and ride safe.